Now, with this process completed, and in fact, let me just confirm to you that we haven't actually made any changes here. I mean, the WIM file still exists, but there's no other files that have been created by the activities we've done here so far. Our next step then is to apply in an offline fashion any awaiting updates that this copy of Microsoft Windows may require. This is the RTM version of Windows, the one downloaded right off the DVD ISO. And so as time goes on, there are obviously going to be updates to Windows Server 2016. In fact, if you come here to, for example, the Microsoft Catalog site, you'll be able to identify which updates you may want to download offline from the usual WSUS and Windows Update Agent, that whole process baked into Windows. It's here where you can download specific updates that you may then want to apply via this offline fashion. I happen to know here that one of the updates that is immediately then necessary after the release of Server 2016 RTM is the update called KVB 3199209. This update was released, I think, almost just a couple of days after the release of Server 2016, and so it provides a great starting point for one of the first updates that we can just simply get out of the way by including it inside the image file itself. Let's download this content here to our local machine. This will download the copy of the update there to the downloads location here on our Windows 10 machine. I can then take the copy that exists here on our Windows 10 machine and then just add it to our folder so we can make use of it here in just a second. With it now available in that downloads location, let's open the folder and then move this content from where it's at into a location that's more accessible to us. Notice here that this is a .msu file. It's a Microsoft Update file that I will copy and paste here into a subfolder there of my Hyper-V folder that I'll just call Updates. Here in this location, right there is the MSU file that I want to apply to the WIM file so I don't have to worry about then after installation searching for the updates, downloading them, and perhaps doing multiple different reboots to get me to a fully patched state. So with this now in this location, let us now go through applying this update to our WIM file. The first step in the process is to actually mount the WIM file so we can take a look at its files and folders inside the file itself. And so right back here in Windows PowerShell, let us create a new folder called, I don't know, C:\offline. Here in this offline folder, this is currently an empty folder. We will use this as the mount point so that we can see what's inside the WIM. Let us do mount Windows image right here, with the image path again being C Hyper-V and then install.wim. The index is 1. Recall we've removed all those extra indices out there, so we only have to worry about the first index in that WIM file. And the path that we want to connect it to is this C offline path that we just created a second ago. This will then mount that WIM file to that location and allow me to go through adjusting the files and folders and other content that exists there in the image. This process takes several seconds to complete, so I've kind of fast-forwarded things here just a bit. And I do want to show you too that there is another parameter here, read-only, the read-only parameter, that if you're not entirely sure you want to make changes, you can actually mount this in a read-only format. What I do want to show you also is that here in the offline folder, this used to be, as I said, a folder that was empty. We just created the folder, so there was nothing there. But now if I come back here to the C drive and take a look at my offline folder right here, it contains what we would think of as being the standard stuff that exists there in a copy of Windows Server 2016. With this installation now unpacked, you could potentially go through and add in files and folders that you would then later use after the install. So they'd be present there on your Hyper-V or whatever Windows Server host for which you're using this image and creating that host itself. So let's actually not worry about the individual files and folders here. I'll close this down, but rather let's go through using the PowerShell here, the DISM commands here inside of PowerShell, to then apply the updates that exist in that folder that we created, that updates folder. The command we're looking for here, if I clear the screen once more, is add Windows package with the path to where we want to apply these updates to being, let's see here, C offline, so that offline location. And then the package path being the actual updates that we want to then insert into this mounted version of the WIM. If you recall down here, the location where we have those updates is in C, Hyper-V, and then updates. The great part about this command is that every single Microsoft update that exists in that location will be added here to the WIM file in a single command. So you can store all the Microsoft updates you want in that folder, and they'll get automatically added one at a time as the command goes through executing everything it sees. So you could potentially go to the Microsoft catalog and download all the necessary updates that you require. Just shove them in that single folder, and they'll all be applied with this single commandlet.